It looks like we're recording.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is a wonderful Saturday morning, and we have the fabulous opportunity to be listening to our Navy partners and sponsors from Ventura County Naval Bases about job opportunities and internship opportunities for students, alum, and the general public. Just in case you don't know, the Naval Bases, Ventura County, is the largest employer. They employ the most people of any business in Ventura County. There's hundreds of jobs available. So let me introduce our speakers and I'll let them take it away because they certainly know a lot more about this than I do. And by the way, I'm Velma Lomax. I apologize. I presume everyone knows me. I'm the regional director for this area for FIRST Robotics. And I love FIRST Robotics. And I am anxious that our season is coming up in March. I can't believe it. We're in person again. Okay, so let me introduce. First, we have Angel Zamaran. And Angel has been to our regionals. You might recognize her. She's a third-generation civil servant working at NAVS, China Lake. She has worked in HR for more than 15 years with a long history of specializing in student outreach and employment programs. She attended Cerro Coso Community College, then CSU Bakersfield, majoring in business administration. We also have with us Dr. Ramon Flores. Dr. Ramon Flores was born in Mexicali, Mexico. Dr. Flores received his bachelor's and master's degrees in mechanical engineering from California State University, Northridge. Dr. Flores earned his doctorate degree in educational technology from Pepperdine University. Dr. Flores is a registered professional engineer in California. He has also served as a part-time engineer instructor at Oxnard College, and he is in his 14th year as a trustee on the Ventura County Board of Education. And we have a new member with us, Mark Campbell. He got his position this year, and Mark is a NAVFAC XWIC STEM manager and federal action officer for Naval STEM. Mr. Campbell has worked in STEM, both private, public sectors, and in higher education. He is responsible for NAVFAC XWIC STEM portfolio initiative that span kindergarten through doctoral levels. This includes naval officer capstone projects, student internships, faculty internships, exploration events, scholarships for students interested in exploring STEM careers. As a federal action officer for Naval STEM, Mr. Campbell advises naval STEM initiatives. And we're very happy to have all these people join us. I believe at the end there will be a slide where you can contact these people directly. So I'm going to turn it over to Angel Zamaran, and she's going to get the program started.
Thanks, Velma. Before we did that, did we want to introduce Rebecca as well?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rebecca. Wait, thank you. We also have Rebecca Bergman with us. She is the digital marketing strategist for First California Robotics. She takes care of all of our social media. So when you're tweeted or all of those things, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and our newsletter, Becca's the one that's poking you and she's responsible. She's been a great addition to First California Robotics. And she, if you ever want anything out there for other people to learn, she's the person to get a hold of. So Rebecca is actually going to watch our chat for us. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat. And Rebecca will determine if it's a question that should be answered immediately or if we wait a little bit. So if your question doesn't get answered immediately, she may realize that it's coming up on a next slide or that it's going to come later in the program. So thank you. And thank you, Angel, for reminding me. Sorry about that, Becca.
All right. Thanks, Velma. So as Velma mentioned, my name's Angel Zamaran. I'm the STEM Outreach and Student Employment Coordinator for NAVWD, which spans China Lake and Point Mugu. So I have the privilege of being able to support the area that's local to our current claim to fame is where Top Gun 2 or Maverick was just filmed. The early scenes where he's flying the experimental aircraft, that was all filmed here at China Lake in Ridgecrest and Inyo area. So I've been marketing that pretty heavily just so that people kind of know where we are and what it looks like here. But I also have the great opportunity to support as one of the 3 STEM outreach coordinators for the Naval Base Ventura County area, supporting our team at Point Mugu. So I'm happy to be here this morning. We have a great presentation scheduled for this morning, and we're going to talk about internship opportunities, some success stories, and some basics of professionalism and conduct when preparing for and then joining an internship with the Navy. But the first thing I wanted to touch on is I understand that it's really easy for folks to see the types of careers that we have, the programs that we're marketing, and they'll think that, well, if I'm not going to be a scientist or engineer, there's not a place for me. So I wanted to talk about the three main types of employment categories that we have between the Navy, whether it's my Warfare Center, Mr. Campbell's or Dr. Flores's Warfare Centers, or any of the other tenants of the Navy that are around the country and in fact around the world. So we do have a significant portion of our workforce is scientists and engineer, what we call our S&Es. And these are the folks that are pursuing computer science, any type of engineering flavor, whether it's mechanical, aerospace, computer engineers, civil engineers, electrical and electronic engineers, all of those types of categories. So there is a big section of the workforce that the Navy is interested in, students that are pursuing those science and engineering technologies. And you'll pretty much hear those referred to across the board as S&E career types. Those are the typical four-year universities who are, there's country schools around the country and again around the world. There's also a handful of accredited, ABET accredited schools that you can enroll and take most of your coursework online, and you don't even have to be living close to that area. So that is one of the major career types that we support within the Navy. And one of the things I realize I'm kind of jumping out of order, but I should have clarified from the beginning. All three of us that are here on the call today are not actually enlisted in the services. We are not part of active duty. We are civilian employees that support the active duty in the military. So I just wanted to touch on that, is that you do not have to enlist. Our job is to support those that are in the military and the armed services, and we're proud and happy to do that. But we are not ourselves actually enlisted. We are civil servants of the government. So again, we have our S&Es, which are our major career types. And then another major category that you'll see pretty consistently hiring across the Navy are what we call our technical specialists and our technicians. So this is a growing and very hot area, specifically to the Naval Base Ventura County area. The three of us work constantly in enrichment and development type programs that specialize in technician training. So that is a lot of hands-on training. There's some education components of it. It's doing that technical support, hands-on, getting the things done, that working side by side with the scientists and engineers. Typically, these aren't four-year degree path opportunities. You'll see a lot of programs at community colleges that are maybe certificate level or very specific classes teaching you very specific things. Soldering, cable building, PCB board layout, things like that. But then we also have another hot area under the technical specialist field, and that's IT and cybersecurity. I'm sure that's something that most folks are familiar with. You'll see these IT cyber positions advertised everywhere. It's not just the government. This is a growing and emergent hiring area that you'll see around the country and particularly around the world, though we are here specifically to talk about what those career opportunities can look like when you're supporting the naval STEM programs. So again, IT cyber, those can be anything from a certificate program or a boot camp maybe with partnered with experience, to maybe a 2-year program at a community college. And we're starting to see more and more, some of the more traditional university programs are developing IT and cyber type positions. And those sort of overlap a little bit with even some of the S&E career types like computer science. So that is something to also consider. We have a lot of different ways to support the science, engineering, and technology side of the folks that are interested in those types of careers. And for my command in particular, that's about 75% of our workforce. So it is significant, but that's certainly not everyone. So one of the things that we did want to highlight and share with you all today is that about 25% of our workforce supports the other areas of the organization that allow the S&Es and the technicians and technical specialists to do their jobs. So we call that business professionals. It's a lot of clerical work as well. So that is human resources, contracting, where their job is to execute the contracts that allow us to make the buys, to get the work done. They do a lot of pricing and purchasing. We have folks in our business finance community that they make sure that we can do our jobs. Our BFMs are excellent at what they do, and they literally make sure that money's in place and that we know where to go and how to spend it, and that we're being fiscally responsible with everybody's money. And that is a really important part of our career. We have a lot of administrative support. So the folks that literally make our lives happen, The super organized folks that make sure that we know where to go, know what to do, know how to get the job done, who just basically make our lives function. And that's more of our clerical office manager, resource assistant type folks as well. And again, we have another large area of the organization that is super important to everything that we do, especially that the three of us are research laboratories, is we have our legal counsel. So legal makes sure that we are following all the rules, that we are appropriately working with our partners, including our education partners, our teammates on folks like First Robotics. And they also work with all of our employees that are doing very advanced and innovative work, and they are helping them make sure that they are justly compensated, that their innovative property rights are being followed and respected, that they are getting paid for the patents that they're producing, to keep this, tip of the sword work very, very, very innovative and very new to the organization. We want to make sure that the legal counsel is keeping us straight and narrow. So the reason that we touched on this other 25% of our workforce is because we know that First Robotics has a big emphasis on the different types of I guess, touching the robot type to say career opportunities and skills that you're working on as a team. So we wanted to make sure that even if you're not maybe thinking that you're looking for a career path that is going to pursue science, engineering, technology, technical specialist type work, there are opportunities for careers that support the Navy and the warfighter in our mission that could absolutely apply to the type of work that you're doing supporting your team in First Robotics now and in the future. So that is a highlight of the three main areas of careers that we have supporting the Navy. Again, that's the S&E support, the scientists and engineers, our technical specialists and technicians, and then our business specialist support, administrative, and even our artisan workforce build up that full circle of teams that helps us be successful at our mission. So we did want to touch on that before we jumped into all the different career opportunities and the ways that we can help support and grow the future of the Navy. So thank you. You're muted, Velma.
So we're going to be moving on to other options. We're looking now at intern opportunities, and I believe that is going to be Dr. Ramon Flores.
Can we talk about the professionalism before we jump into the internship opportunities?
Absolutely.
Actually, Angel, did you want to jump there, or do you want to start maybe with some intern success stories as a teaser and then jump into the professionalism?
There you go.
I love to brag about our interns and their success stories. So thank you, Dr. Flores. I would love to kick that piece off. One of the things that I am I consider a highlight of the job that I do is the opportunity to work with students and developing them into their career opportunities. And so I've had the chance to work with some really, really exceptional folks here at NAVFAC, which is the Warfare Center I support. We have a couple folks that come to mind, and I'm not going to pull up any pictures or drag them into the conversations. They're not even here today, to be honest. But I just wanted to share some highlights of some examples of folks that work for us that have grown within our programs. So we have a doctor within our organization that he came aboard. He had recently graduated as a science and engineer, enrolled in what we call our new professional program. And so that's where our scientists and engineering recently graduated folks go and they develop into career professionals. All three of us have very similar programs. He took advantage of our internal workforce development. He joined the SMART program and he went back and got a doctorate degree. He is incredibly advanced doing work in radar technologies. And this year we were able to bring him back to kind of share that knowledge and help grow the future of our workforce by supporting what we call our pipelines program, which is a program with the University of California, Santa Barbara, where we're hiring community college and NREP students. And you'll hear what NREP means in a little bit when we talk with Mr. Campbell. And so he's come back and helping us grow students within the workforce and within the communities as well. Just another example, I have a student that we just brought into the workforce for NAVWD, which is the Warfare Center I support, this summer in June. She worked with Dr. Flores last summer and had the opportunity to learn about the work that NAVSEA does. That student is an NREP scholar that she came and worked for us as a 10-week intern this summer. She made a huge impact on our organization. She did some tremendous work in an emergent technology that's actually going to be showcased at the Naval Base Ventura County Air Show next spring. And she has been enrolled in the Smart Scholar program as well. So she has had a chance to take care of her education costs and have a job waiting for her when she graduates. And these are just two students in the Ventura County community that I am exceptionally proud of, that leveraged every resource that was available to them. And they managed to go through these advanced education programs where the government is going to pay most of their education bills. They will graduate with very few student loans, and they're already getting the opportunity to work back with the community. But I don't want to hog all the time for me. I know that Mr. Campbell and Dr. Flores have some incredible stories to share as well. So I'd like to kick it over to Mr. Campbell and let him tell us a little bit about their success stories as well.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here speaking to you this morning. Yeah, I mean, Angel mentioned some really great success stories. All of our centers, we have a ton of stories that we have. One that comes in mind for me is an individual that I met over the summer. As Ms. Lomax had mentioned, I'm new to the program here at NAVFAC. His name is Jose Chicas, and what was unique about him is that he basically went through all of our different internship programs throughout, from high school all the way through college. And what's nice that he actually, by the age of 20, he was on a patent. And what that means is, with him being on a patent by the age of 20, that's very impressive. Most people are not on patents at such a young age. But what we'll go through later on and talk about is our internship programs. And within those internship programs, the different opportunities that we offer. And with Jose's opportunity that he had through our intern programs, he was able to have a patent. Now, again, I mentioned he went through all of our different internship programs. That would include SEEP, NREAP, and I believe he also was part of pipelines at some point. He also was able to get onto the SMART program, another program that we'll obviously talk about later this morning. And again, with the SMART program, it is a unique program, but it is one of our programs that offer the most opportunity. But I want you to keep in mind that by him going through all the different programs actually catapulted him with the opportunity to be able to be accepted into the programs. And so we look at that as a positive thing, because again, he's participated in everything that catapulted him to be able to take advantage of the different internships that we'll talk about in a moment. But again, there's other success stories. For the most part, your success is based off of you and what you do and your involvement and how far you want to go. But as far as for Jose, again, he's in a unique situation. He's recognized through NAVFAC and also been recognized at the federal level as well. Again, because he's come through all the programs and he's able to be on a patent. Mr. Flores.
Thank you for that, Mr. Campbell. Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Ramon Flores coming to you from beautiful Port Hueneme. I also have two interns I want to highlight, and Angel, I'm going to piggyback on one of yours in a minute. So my first intern is a young lady that I met when she was actually a junior in high school. So as you've heard, the three labs here, we all run different STEM portfolios across different grade levels. And I have one program right now that targets high school students. So this student, Bridget Davenport, came to me as a junior in high school. She just fell in love with the work that we do here. And she, upon graduating high school, entering college, applied for our NREIP program. She was successful in that. We transitioned her to, again, the STEM student employment program, which allowed her to come to us during the school year. So she worked during the summers and the academic school year. So we got to see her even more. And again, because we just loved the work that she did, we encouraged her very strongly to pursue the SMART scholarship, again, science, math, research transformation. And she got accepted. She is now at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo with a full ride scholarship. Students, I'm a dad. I know how much it costs to put three kids through college. That I am so proud for her. Again, what I really appreciate about Bridget, though, is the humility in her. I remember when she got awarded, she came to me and said, Dr. Flores, I never viewed myself as a smart scholar, because she knew, again, having spent that time with us, all those other students that she had met who were smart scholars. But also the big takeaway, students, for you is like I said, I met her when she entered our high school program. I remember talking to her high school counselor, sharing the story about the scholarship, and her comeback to me was Bridget was so unsure. She was just looking at a flyer one day that the counselor gave to her on my engineering program, and the counselor encouraged her because Bridget, at that point, you're 16. It's like, I don't know what I want to do. This sounds interesting. And from that one flyer, that one conversation, Bridget now has a full ride scholarship to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Second intern I want to highlight, again, you already heard about Megan. I have a slightly different story I want to share with you. So what's unique about Megan, besides everything that Angel mentioned, is she started her academic career a little bit later. She wasn't your traditional student when she came to me. She had just finished her associate's degree at Ventura College, a local community college, with a 4.0 in mathematics. So that alone impressed the heck out of me. But and I have to be a little cautious how I say this. Megan looked like your non-typical math major. Petite blonde. She had beautiful manicured fingernails. And when she came to me, one of the first I asked her is, "Can you help me do some soldering?" And she said, "Yeah, I've never done it before." So we brought her over to our lab. We showed her how to solder, but with those beautifully manicured nails, she was having a hard time holding the wire and so forth. But the very next day, students, and this is a no kidding true story, the very next day she shows up, every single fingernail removed because she knew the importance of getting the job done. So students, yes, we want the grades. We love the fact that she had a 4.0, but that doesn't always tell me anything. And that single act alone told me her commitment, her dedication, her motivation for trying to be successful in our work environment. It showed me how appreciative she was of the opportunity we gave her. And then she came back and was rewarded by the SMART scholarship. So again, just some great success stories. And I hope all these will resonate, that these could be you. These are students just like you with your backgrounds that were successful in our work environments. So again, thank you for the opportunity to share. What I want to do now is transition a little bit. I would going to try to share a PowerPoint slide. If I could find it. Give me one quick second.
While you're looking at that, I want to thank you all for sharing these great success stories. It's always fun to hear what a great impact you have on our students and what opportunities are there that maybe a student that's listening didn't realize that they could utilize a skill that they have that they didn't think would work. So thank you very much.
Okay, I should be sharing. Angel, I got the thumbs up. You're seeing the screen? Okay, I am old school. I'm going to go into slide view mode. Let's see if I can get it here. Okay, so students, what we're going to do now is spend a few minutes going over communications, professionalism, and etiquette in the work environment. Because again, what we are hoping for is you will take advantage of the internship programs that we have, and you will come work for us. But once you do, you have to realize that you are now working in a professional work environment. So very quickly, these are topics we'll cover: professionalism, etiquette. We'll talk about business interviews. What are some of the do's and don'ts when you come into an interview for us? And then again, the importance of communication. And then if you have questions, again, feel free to drop in the chat, or we can take them along as we proceed. So there's an interrelationship here. This is what I call the golden triangle. So communications, professionalism, and etiquette all go hand in hand. And students, you're going to see this in a slide a little bit later on, but the view that myself, Ms. Zamran, Mr. Campbell take in a professional work environment is that we are constantly in an interview. We are constantly being looked at. And again, you never know when your next opportunity is going to arise. So you have to act, carry yourself with a sense of professionalism, because that person you're talking to that you either bump into a hallway or that you just happen to be sitting next to in a meeting, that person could be your next supervisor. That person could be the one giving you the next offer. In our case, that person could be that manager who's going to offer you that scholarship opportunity, offer you that internship opportunity. So again, you always have to carry yourself as if you're in an interview. It may sound a little daunting, but again, after a while, some of these things become second nature to you. So let's talk about interviews for a minute. We have the benefit with social media to really do a lot of research, but by the same token, your potential employers have the opportunity to do a lot of research on you. I know social media is out there. We have, so many platforms that I've lost track. I'm old school. I prefer Facebook. I know there's Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I mean, there's so many different opportunities. Students, and again, you're going to hear me say this a lot. I'm going to put on my dad hat. Be cautious what you put on your social media pages. As a rule, when we are looking at applicants for these various internship opportunities that we have, we do background checks. Because again, regardless of which one of these programs you come to us, because we are the federal government, you will come to us with a security clearance, which requires about a 5 to 6 month background check. And students, we look everywhere, and social media is one of those places. Again, I'm probably stating the obvious, but there is no such thing as delete on the internet. You think you might get rid of something, but no, we have ways to find it. I've had people show me things that I posted 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, innocent things, pictures and whatnot, that I thought I deleted, but they were able to find. Students as a organization, the military, you heard Angel talk earlier, how professional we are, the different, 3 different career types, but we're also very conservative. So what you think is funny, we might not think is funny. Now, we are here representing 3 labs. We are actually part of a 45 lab network across the nation that offers these types of internship opportunities. And myself, I have not personally experienced this, but my colleagues have shared stories with me where they have actually rescinded offers that they've given to their high school students or college students based on what you put on your social media pages. So again, this is me with my dad hat on. Please be cautious, be very, very cautious as to what you put out there. That being said, my recommended platform for you, if you do not have a LinkedIn account, get a LinkedIn account. That is the platform for professionals. So even as high school students, you have to work on your messaging, you have to work on your image, you have to work on your marketing now, and you want to have that professional image. I get a lot of quote unquote friend requests in LinkedIn, and my rule of thumb in general is if I know you in the real world, I will accept your request in LinkedIn. If I don't know you, the second rule of thumb that I go to, or the second question I ask is, do you have a professional picture? And so many times someone will offer me a request and there'll be a picture of a dog, a cat, there'll be a picture of a sunset. Again, this is LinkedIn. I want to see a professional headshot. So students, if you don't have one, I would recommend you do that. If you do have a picture of your pet, no matter how cute they may be, remove it and replace it with something professional of you. One of the things that I did the last couple of summers here that I was able to take advantage of with my public affairs people is, as my interns were cycling through, I would send them over to my public affairs office, and they, as a courtesy, would give my students professional headshots as a little parting gift when they departed our internship program for them to use into their LinkedIn pages. So again, really take advantage of that professionalism. You also, going the other way, can take advantage of social media to do homework on the company. We're going to get into interviews in a little bit, but students, you have to understand what the organization does. As Ms. Amran mentioned, we are 3 federal research labs. We all hire in scientists and engineers. However, my lab, because of the nature of the work we do, we hire mainly mechanicals and electricals. We do hire civils, but out of our 1,000 scientists and engineers, we have 3 civils. So if you're a student studying civil engineering or have an interest in high school to study civil engineering, my lab is not the place to apply. Mr. Campbell, by contrast, about half of his engineers are civils. So again, do your homework, know where you're applying. The work culture is super important. Students, we get it. You're smart, all of you. We know that you're going to have a lot of strong technical capabilities when you come to us, but is the work environment going to be a good fit for you? This is where, again, you have to do your homework and say, okay, what kind of a work environment is this? Is this a place where I have to dress up every single day? Is this a place where I can be a little bit more casual? True story. I'm not going to say names. I was absolutely mortified this summer. One of my interns on day 1 showed up in shorts and a t-shirt. I'm in a suit and tie. I was beyond mortified. Pulled him off to the side. The next day, guess what? He showed up in a suit and tie. Because he didn't do his homework. Once he came here and he saw the work environment, was like, okay, got it. Hindsight, that's also a lesson learned from me. So for next summer, I will send my interns a gentle reminder: business casual is preferred. When you are in an interview, students, I can almost guarantee you, the very first question you're going to be asked is something along the lines of, tell me about yourself. This is not a time for you to regurgitate your resume. This is a softball question is what I call it. The interviewer, the person who is going to evaluate you, he or she is trying to get to know you and try also, to be quite honest, if it was me, trying to see how prepared you are. So what I've got in front of you is a little recommendation approach: past, present, future. So instead of saying, I am Ramon and I graduated, as Ms. Lomax read my bio, don't regurgitate the resume. Your interviewer person has your resume in front of them. Instead, again, past, present, future. My name is Ramon. I'm a recent graduate of Cal State Northridge. I'm working in the food services industry right now. I am looking to go into the technical sector. I'm really interested in opportunities with your organization, and I look forward to giving you some of my skill sets during the course of this interview. 2 minutes, just boom, get it solid. And again, past, recent graduate, present, I work in the food service. That's what I was saying, I'm a waiter. And in the future, I want to work with your organization to expand my capabilities. Boom, very simple, very succinct, but it does take practice. Students, this is going to sound a little awkward sometimes, but you need to practice, practice, practice. My youngest son just recently got his first full-time job. We practiced this very same thing, I'd say about 10, 15 times before he finally got it right. And again, this is someone with a bachelor's degree. He's in grad school right now. But he kept on stumbling on it because, he kept on wanting to go back and give me his resume line item by line item. I was like, no, 3 quick things: something from your past, what are you doing right now, and what do you hope to get out of this interview? Again, during the interview, it's so important, again, this notion of understanding your work culture. uh, I already told you about the student with the shorts and the t-shirt. In my setting, especially in the position that I happen to sit in, I deal with a lot of senior managers. So for the most part, not always, but the most part, you're going to see me in a suit and tie. That's just the work environment that I happen to be in. Doing your homework will let you know, okay, is this a suit and tie for the ladies, whatever the appropriate equivalent is, or is this a little bit more of a casual environment? You have to do your homework by understanding the culture of the company. Next bullet, this is such a dead giveaway. Students, you might have heard the expression, the dead fish handshake. If you only knew how many times I've gotten some of those. Some of it is hard because it's also there's also a cultural element to this. I mentioned, or as Ms. Lomax mentioned, I was born in Mexico, came to the States when I was 6, and in my culture, things like eye contact, we just don't do. Looking at someone in the eye is considered rude in my culture. But because that's the work environment that I am in, I had to learn to change that. So what I'm looking for when I greet someone for the very first time, especially if I'm interviewing them, is, are you going to give me a firm handshake? Are you going to look me in the eye? Are you going to state your name? Hi, my name is Ramon Flores. Thank you for the opportunity. There are, again, I mentioned my high school student that I have right now. We actually practice that with them. When they meet every Tuesday and I take roll, I make it a point, give me that firm handshake, state your name, look me in the eye, and then off we go. We have to start early. Again, sometimes culturally, it's very, very hard to do. Uh, I mentioned earlier, one of the first questions that you're going to get is, tell me something about yourself. As you close out the interview, again, I can almost guarantee you, one of the last questions that the interviewer is going to ask you is, do you have any questions for us? Students, for me, a dead giveaway that you didn't do your homework is when you say, no, I don't have any questions. Wrong answer. You have got to have some questions for the interviewer. And don't make it about how much does it pay? When is vacation? Those are the absolute wrong types of questions to ask. Ask things like, what kind of work environment will I be? Is it a multi-team environment? Are there certain barriers that I should be aware of? Or in preparation for this offer, are there certain things I can prepare to make myself, that much more stronger once I come in day one? The last one is kind of an obvious one, a follow-up, but here's what I recommend students, and this is going to sound counterintuitive. Follow up before you follow up. So oftentimes, you go to an interview, you go through the interview, and then you leave. And for me, for the most part, that's the end of my contact with the person. If we decide not to make them an offer, that's it. A approach that I like to do is, when I'm going to go for an interview and I know the date, the time, and I know the person, I rather thank you note ahead of time, because I'm thankful just for the opportunity. This way I know it's done. I go in, firm handshake, eye contact, go through the interview, thank them at the end after I ask my questions. I go home, and once I go home, I mail the card. Students, I know it's easy nowadays with technology, email, text, etc. We're going to get that in a little bit, but the power of a handwritten note cannot be understated. Something from your own writing, because again, handwriting is like our own personalities. But again, be succinct, be thankful, be grateful, but most important, be clear. I struggle so many times trying to read some of the notes the students give me, especially when I'm trying to jot down their emails. Because again, I get it, we don't practice as much. But the point is, write the thank you note even before you go into the interview. So once you're done, the following afternoon or the next day, you just mail it off and it's taken care of. Okay, let's kind of switch gears a little bit. That was in interviews. Let's talk about communications. So this is a very interesting chart that I found. And again, this is something that I kind of knew, but when I saw this, like, yeah, this is this so resonates. When you come to work in a professional environment, not only are you going to be in a multidisciplinary environment, you're also going to be in a multi-generational environment. You're going to have people that are about your age. You're going to have people that are a few years older. You're going to have people like me that are very seasoned. And you need to understand that our communication styles vary. With me, because I am, I'm Gen X, just barely missed the baby boomers, but my communication preference is in person. I want to be able to see the person that I'm talking to. And again, a quick digression. Students, when you have a conversation with an individual one-on-one, did you know that you're really having 6 different conversations? It's what you're saying, it's what the other person is hearing, it's what you mean, it's what the other person is interpreting, it's what their body language is saying and how you're interpreting their body language. 6 different modes of communication. If I'm in a phone call, guess what? I can't see your body language. If I'm doing an email, I can't read your body language, and so forth and so on. That's what, for me, when I go up in technology, I'm losing some of those 6 communications. And so that's why I prefer in person. I want to be able to take advantage of all 6 communications to make sure that there is comprehension. Younger generations, your generation, it's the opposite. You prefer texting as your preferred mode, and in person absolutely last. If, as the slide says, if all else fails, I go see that individual. I go see Dr. Flores in person. Again, not exactly sure why that is, but just the whole point is keep in mind that who you talk to, their preferred communication style is just as important as what you're saying. Okay. So next up, let's talk about phone communications for a minute. If you're in a work environment, you don't always know who is around you and who all can hear what you're saying. So again, things like speaking on speakerphone, having your phone on speaker. I know out of habit, especially with cell phones, it's very simple to do, but the takeaway is don't do that. Because again, your conversations are going to get picked up. Don't ever take your phone into a meeting, students. That is so rude. If you're asked to walk into a meeting, leave it at your desk. And if for whatever reason you forget and you take it with you and it rings, don't pick up. Again, this is just, it's very unprofessional. And again, this speaks to your image. This speaks to the marketing that you are going to present yourself with. And then the last one, because this happens to me a lot. Whenever I'm talking to someone, and if I am in a closed office, and just out of comfort, because I want to have my hands free to be able to take notes or type, if I have the person on speaker, very first thing I say is, hey, Mr. Campbell, thank you for calling me. I've got you on speaker phone. Let the other person know as a courtesy so that they are aware of how, quote unquote, how comfortable they can be when they communicate with you. Talk about emails, and the first one, students, I got to start with this first one. Just like LinkedIn and just like having a professional picture, you have got to have a professional email address. Again, I deal with high school students. I can just go off the list of the emails that I've seen. I like puppies. I'm going to hardworks@gmail.com. Papi Chulo was one of my favorite ones. Papi Chulo at Gmail. Don't be that person that you see here. Don't give me baby girl at iCloud. Have a professional email address, because this is how we're going to communicate back to you. So my professional email address is very simple. It's dr.ramon.flores@gmail. Right away, you that's a very professional sounding email address. If you don't have one, get one. If you take nothing out of this presentation, drop, I'm going to Hogwarts@gmail and get whatever the appropriate professional email account is. I mentioned earlier the 6 modes of communication, and when I'm talking with someone in person, email is the same way. So when you use things like exclamation marks or when you type in all caps, you're believe it or not, yelling. I had a former supervisor because I no kidding, because he was lazy, didn't want to worry about punctuation, would write in all caps. Didn't want to worry about which words had to be capitalized or not. He wrote in all caps, and I told him, "Do you realize you're yelling when you email like that?" And he didn't. He was just, it was just his comfort zone. Um, if you knew how many times I've been in this crazy spiral, we call the reply all spiral, because if you get into any size of group, 5, 10, 15, with us, again, my organization is 2,800 people. Imagine someone hitting reply all and it goes to 2,800 people and you're trying to end that vicious cycle. It says, be careful or think twice about replying all. My recommendation, don't use it at all. If there was a way I could kill that key from my keyboard, I would. And again, like I mentioned earlier with social media, be careful with humor. Because again, this is a multidiscipline, multi-generational, multicultural work environment. What you think is funny, the receiver might not think is funny. Okay, texting, abbreviations, be super, super careful. Again, I know that, LOL and so forth, it's kind of cute. I was a little cautious or concerned about using this particular one, but WTF, I joke. WTF to me, it means why the face. I know it means something else to other people, but kind of bringing it back when I was a young engineer, and I can laugh about it now. I actually had one of my senior managers, write me an email. It said, Ramon, WTF, and then his name. I had no idea what that meant. So I had the senior engineer, our boss just wrote this email. What does that mean? He looks at it, he looks at me, and he says, Ramon, it means he's upset at you. So again, the acronyms, be very, very careful with those things. My recommendation, don't text with your manager, text with your friends that you feel comfortable, that they understand either the abbreviations or that they understand your sense of humor. Some closing thoughts again on professionalism. As I mentioned at the start of the beginning, you're constantly being watched, whether it's your team lead who's right above you, your manager, your second level manager, you're constantly being observed. So act as if you're always in an interview. Like I mentioned earlier, just out of default, I'm always in a suit and tie. To me, that gives me a certain sense of professionalism. The whole notion, dress good, you feel good, kind of a thing. And then your coworkers, always be conscious of them being around you, of what they're hearing, and also of their time. Again, this notion about you're having a conversation with someone, your cell phone goes off and you take it, you're not valuing your coworker's time. And what that does is kills morale. So be very conscious of that. And then last thing, what I'll leave you with is the power of first impressions. It's a cliche, right? You never get a second chance to make a first impression. The student who showed up in shorts and a t-shirt, you better believe he was in a suit and tie the rest of the 10 weeks. But guess how I remember him as? Shorts and t-shirt guy. So always be careful of your first impressions. Okay, so with that, I want to thank you for your time, and we're going to transition over now to our internship opportunities. And I'm sure, Angel, we're going to tag team this, or is Mr. Campbell going to take the lead?
I think we can all tag team it.
Yeah.
I can start with this one if you guys want to get into the specifics of the programs.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So what we're sharing, and one of the things I do want you to know is we will be sharing these slides and the links for everything as well with Rebecca and Velma. So these are some great opportunities that you may want to look into a little bit more closely. And at the end of the slide, we also have links, some QR codes and some tiny URLs where you can also contact us directly about these programs. But this first slide that you're looking at, the first one that most of this audience is probably going to be really interested and want to look into is what we call a SEAP program. It's a science engineering apprenticeship program. And just like it says, these are very high level overviews of what the program is, but it's an 8-week summer internship for high school students at Navy laboratories. The one thing that I do want to caution everybody about knowing for SEAP is that our organizations have very strict security clearance requirements. Dr. Flores touched on that as part of your social media awareness. And it does limit some of the laboratories' abilities to participate in the SEAP program. So if you go to this Naval STEM interns website that's listed, you can get some information about the labs that do participate. And just know that across the country, these labs participate in these programs. And there are some really great success stories about them, but they're going to be different based upon where you're working and what you're looking into. So it's always best practice to kind of look into each of the labs that you might be interested in, the geographic areas, and check things out. That is a program that's paid for by the Office of Naval Research, along with our second program, which is NREP. You did hear us all talk about the NREP program, which stands for the Naval Research Enterprise Internship Program. And this is more of a program for undergraduate and graduate students. It's very similar in structure to the CAP program, but these are for the students that are going into community college or universities or good graduate type students. I've had all three. We've had community college, some university level students, and then I had a couple doctoral candidates that came and worked for us at China Lake this summer. So this is a great program. 10 weeks, you get a security clearance. You are working on very specific programs. And these students, for me, they do a variety of things. There is not one individual internship that's like the other. And I know that is very similar to the case with Dr. Flores and Mr. Campbell's programs as well. And as Dr. Flores mentioned, we have kind of in a way shared an NREP intern. He had her for one summer and then she chose to kind of test the waters and come to another lab. And I think if she had not gone into the SMART program, she'd probably be knocking on Mr. Campbell's door next summer. These are 10 weeks and you can always go wherever you want with these programs and look at the labs that participate around the country. So these are excellent opportunities to participate in programs that are offered by the Office of Naval Research. I touched a little bit on what we call the Pipelines program, and this program is called the Problem-Based Initiatives for Powerful Engagement and Learning in Naval Engineering Science. I will tell you, I have been a part of the team for Pipelines along with NAVSEA and NAVFAC. I could not tell you what that title means without reading it just like I did right there. We call it Pipelines. Pipelines is an amazing program that connects community college students with NREP interns. All three of our labs participate in this program, and it is an opportunity that you might want to consider if you're a community college student or as you're kind of thinking about your opportunities. Do you, as a high school student, want to go straight to a university or consider the local community colleges? This program is run by the University of California, Santa Barbara, UCSB, and you can apply directly with UCSB and they will help walk you through that program. So that's got a link to its own program. And if you go to that Pipelines website, one of the great things about it is, again, all three of our labs have participated in this program for a couple of years. We've had some really cool projects. My mind is blown every time we do the engineering challenge and hear the students talk about what their work has been and the things that they accomplish. It is absolutely incredible, the depth of research, the opportunities that these students have to work with career professionals, the exposure that they get. It is amazing. And you can read little summaries of what those projects are. And you can probably watch some of the presentation videos on this website as well. And then the last one I want to highlight is what we here at NAVFAC call the TRMC internship program. It stands for Test Resource Management Center. Essentially, it's for the laboratories that are working in a very specific type of funding that relates to our range and test centers. So this is something that only NAVWD is participating in right now in the Naval Base Ventura County area, but the TRMC internships occur all around the country. I know that my counterparts at Edwards Air Force Base has an internship opportunity, along with some of the Army labs around the country as well. And this is very similar to NREP. It's just run by a different organization. And so these are great websites to check out. Again, we touched on the variety of student or actually career opportunities when I first talked to y'all this morning, specifically about how IT and cyber technology and career paths are becoming really, really hot spots for us, all three warfare centers or all three laboratories, again, as supporting the Navy around the country. So that's why we have the Cyber Scholarship Program, which we refer to shorthand as CYSP. This program is specifically for students that are enrolling in colleges or universities that are considered cybersecurity centers of excellence. And you can read more about what that scholarship is. This is essentially a lot like the SMART Scholarship Program, but specifically for IT and cyber career opportunities. Again, SMART is the program that we'll just jump straight into now, so I'll try to cover that together. The Science, Mathematics, and Research for Transformation Scholarship for Service Program. So that's SMART. Again, I think all three of us talked about SMART scholars as our success stories. Again, SMART is Scholarship for Service, which means that you are selected by a laboratory to work on your education program, whether that's an undergraduate, a graduate, a doctoral program. The entire cost of your education is paid for by the SMART program. You have a laboratory that you work at in the summer. It's the lab that selected you for the program. and you have the opportunity to have a position with them, a career position once you graduate. So the CYSP functions a lot in the same way as a Smart Scholar program, except it's for cybersecurity and IT type degree paths specifically. So those are two great options as you're thinking about maybe I don't know if I want to go to a 4-year school, or I do, but I just can't afford it with the path that I'm on. These are two of many programs that are out there, but two very, very great programs that we have been really happy. And as you heard about from all three of us early this morning, our students that come through these programs are exceptional. They have so many opportunities. They regularly blow our minds with their skills and their capabilities and their knowledge. And these are great opportunities for programs that you can get involved in that will help you cover your academic costs as you pursue your higher education. So with that, I think I'm going to kind of skip over some of the other programs because they're a little more higher level, not necessarily to the high school focus. But then we also, as Dr. Flores mentioned, have opportunities to hire students directly into our organizations. So the NADP is the top one that's listed. That is definitely covering the technician / technical specialist category, as well as the business professional category. These are for students that have graduated their programs and are ready to begin their careers with the Navy. So again, that's something I'm not going to touch on too closely, but do know that we do have developmental programs specifically for those types of students and degrees. But I do want to touch on the fact that we have two programs that are open to high school and college students, that it's not tied specifically to another organization. So we have what we call the Pathways program and the STEM Student Employment Program. Both of these are what we call direct hire programs, which means that you're not working for a contractor or another outside agency. You're working for the center or the laboratory that selected you for these positions. Pathways positions will always and forever be listed on USA Jobs, which you may or may not have heard about in the past, but USA Jobs is the central government-run website for federal positions. So Pathways jobs are required to be posted on USA Jobs, and you can go through USA Jobs at any time and see what kind of hiring opportunities are out there. And this could be, again, any of us labs, but along with any other federal agency. If they are hiring students, you will see those positions posted on USA Jobs, and you'll be able to apply for those. One pitch I do want to give about USA Jobs, because it is kind of a clunky and sort of hard to use website. There is an excellent tool within USA Jobs to help you build a resume. Dr. Flores talked about the importance of professionalism and conveying your past, present, future plans, and a resume can really help you form that conversation. And using the tool on USA Jobs, you can really form a really well created federal resume. So again, definitely check out USA Jobs and then go back in there and you can apply for any of those positions. And then the final one I want to talk about is what we call our STEM Student Employment Program. It's basically how we directly hire students, and I doesn't have a link on it because what you'll see on the final slide of this deck will have our contact information. Each of us as laboratories, you can apply with us directly. So you're able to go ahead and reach out to us. And so that's why we don't have a specific website listed on the SSEP for each of our laboratories. And you've seen where Dr. Flores kind of jumped through some slides for SMART and the NREP program. Again, we will provide these flyers to you, but I know that we are getting a little close to our time frame. So we're going to go ahead and give you the opportunity to check those out on your own. And we are certainly here to answer any questions about that program or both of those programs before we leave today. So if you'd like us to cover those in any more detail, please let us know. Again, Becca's monitoring the chat, so you can just type your questions in. But what we want to do is really showcase an amazing program that ONR is sponsoring. And so I'm going to turn the mic over to Mr. Campbell, and he is going to talk to you about Naval Horizons. And pay close attention. I think this is really cool.
Thanks, Ms. Amaron. Fantastic job in explaining the internship opportunities. Naval Horizons, as Ms. Amaron had just mentioned, is a fantastic opportunity that you can get involved right now. That's what we want to see all of you do at the end of the call this morning, is to immediately get involved, start learning about what you need to do to get more involved. This opportunity is fantastic. So with Naval Horizons, this is an essay contest opportunity. It has already opened up. Actually, it's going to close in about a month, November 28th, but we still have time for you to be able to write an essay and get it in to us. And what will happen in January, we will announce the contest winners. As you see on there, there's a $200 cash prize. It is not very often where you see DoD give away cash prizes. But this is such an important topic for us, an area to be able to engage all of you and to encourage you to get involved, that ONR has decided to offer a $200 cash prize. What you're going to receive in that is you're going to be highlighted in the Naval STEM webpage, which means that you're going to get recognized for your essay that you've written, and also you'll be considered to have Horizon's highest honors. Now, what does that mean, to be highlighted and to be considered highest honors? That means now you will be able to take that you've participated in this opportunity, and especially if you win one of the prizes, that you can now add that to your resume. Okay, you can now add that to your internship application. Now, what does that do? When Dr. Flores and Ms. Zamarine and I see that, we say, wow, this person has already been involved and is interested in these programs. You're going to stand out above everyone else, because that you've already taken this initiative to participate in a program, again, that you can participate in right now. Now, to do this, it is very easy. It's probably one of the most simplest programs I have ever experienced as far as in our process. First thing we want you to do is to go to the website. The website's there at the bottom of the slide. Write it down. Go to the website. Look at the rules and the information. Okay. Very basic, simple to follow. U.S. citizen. We're asking that you're grade 9 through 12 in order to participate. And if you're under 18, you're going to have your parents submit your essay for you. It's pretty much that easy. Once you do that, you're going to go over. You're going to see a video. There's going to be approximately about 20 videos. What you see on the screen is just a snippet of what the videos look like. They're different STEM subject areas. You're going to watch a video. You're going to then choose a video that you find to be interesting, or more so, a subject matter that you find to be interesting. You're then going to go ahead and you're going to write your essay based off of that subject matter that you're attracted to. So again, you're going to select one of the topics based on the video. Then you're going to select the engineer and the topic that is speaking about the subject matter that you're interested in, and then you're going to write an essay. Your essay just has to be 500 to 1,500 words, and then you're going to submit it. 5,000 people are going to have the opportunity to win. 5,000, that is a lot. It doesn't mean that you have to win, but we want to see that at least you've taken the time to participate in it, so that you could stand out amongst everyone else in terms of your competition, in order to take advantage of the internship opportunities that we're offering you. The other thing I want to mention too is what we've been speaking on. This is state-of-the-art opportunities. Not everyone gets these opportunities. For Ms. Lomax and everyone, as far as part of the FIRST Robotics, to be able to set this up this morning for you to have this opportunity, we really want to encourage you to take advantage of this. All right, but let's start off. If you have the time, we have another month to go. Participate in the Neighbor Horizons essay contest, and let's see if we can get you some money, and then also add this to your resume as a booster as far as wanting to be part of our program. Angel?
Right. Thanks, Mark. I did see that Ms. Lomax asked a really great question to the chat, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm uploading some of the specific program flyers that we talked about in that grid, and then I will upload the flyer for the Naval Horizons program as well, and we'll also provide them to First California so they can be printed out or emailed to you, however that wants to happen. But as I touched on the last bullet point before Mr. Campbell took over, there is a way for you to apply for the STEM Student Employment Program, as well as just reach out to any of us with questions or wanting to initiate a conversation about STEM interns, other types of interns, the programs that we talked about, maybe, just whatever kind of connections you want to make. You can contact each of us using these either the tiny URLs or the email addresses directly. Again, I'm Angel Zamron with NAVAIR, Dr. Flores is with NAVSEA, and Mr. Campbell is with NAVFAC XWIC. So these are some great slides that you might want to, screenshot, take a picture of, write them down, whatever you want to do. And again, we will make all of this information available to the first organization as well. So with that, I think that's everything I wanted to say. I want to thank you all for listening to us too, giving us your Saturday morning. I really appreciate you being here with us. And with that, I will hand it over to our other speakers.
Angel, thank you for that. Again, same thing, students. Just want to say thank you for letting us share some time, some space with you. We wish you much luck. And again, questions that you might have, reach out to any of us. Thank you.
Again, thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time and your effort this Saturday. Also, we just want to add, keep in mind, your success is not a straight line. We've offered you and showed you multiple pathways in order for you to achieve a goal. Take advantage, again, of each and every one. If you don't get selected for one, there are others that you can choose from, and we will be able to select you as far as from that process. So don't want anyone to ever get discouraged about any of it. Just want you to continue to submit your applications, your interest in any of these programs. We will see them. You already have a relationship with us, and just want to encourage everyone to achieve your goals and don't give up. Thank you.
And I would just like to thank everyone, but I'd like to ask Rebecca Bergman if you would just share with the students where this information can be found on the First California Robotics website.
We'll be sending a follow-up email out to you with a link to where you can find it, but it will be on, it'll be a blog post on the CA-FIRST.org website, but it's not up yet, but you'll receive it on Monday.
Awesome. And I just want to, students, this is such a great opportunity. There is everything from how to handle yourself in an interview, what is available at these bases for employment, plus this great contest. I want to see a lot of our robotic students get involved with this contest. So thank you again for spending your Saturday with us, and we're looking forward to a great robotics season this year. As you know, we're gearing up, and you'll see all of these people, Angel, Mark, and Dr. Flores, at the Hueneme and or Ventura regionals, and also because Angel is up in China Lake, she'll undoubtedly be at Aerospace Valley as well. So we look forward to it. Thank you again, and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. This was great.